It is Monday, Parshas Shlach Lechu, Chuf Gimel 7 Tuvshin Payvov, June 8th, 2026. My name is Gershy Schwarcz and I'm your host with the news of the last weekend on Edge.
Your daily report of the news of the last 24 hours, powered by Yiddish24, provided to you by The Click.
Kosher Skinny Shot presents today's episode on 845-456-8924. Enter today to enter a free giveaway by calling me on 845-671-1775. Press 5, telling me your name, your telephone number very clearly, only via voicemail, by the way, and Kosher Skinny Shot on Edge, and you will enter to win a free month with Kosher Skinny Shot. Again, the number of Kosher Skinny Shot is 845-456-8924. The Middle East is on fire again after Iran attacked Israel. It all started with Hezbollah hit Israel. Naturally, Israel hit back, but then Iran joined the fight. The Houthis attacked too, just to be involved, I guess. Today marks 100 days of the war, and things are tense after trading new strikes and bombs and threats. The fragile ceasefire, Iran declared an end to its attacks on Israel afterwards following a demand from President Trump. But Prime Minister Netanyahu says the conflict with Iran and Hezbollah is not yet over and promised to respond with might. Meanwhile, Iran warned the region will become hell if the US-Israeli coalition makes another mistake, and they consider the US-Israeli coalition together, despite the fact that America denied any involvement in the current retaliation strikes. As a result, the peace talks between the US and Iran were affected. But now Trump still says a deal is very close. He says last week, and the week after that too, except now that he says that it could also be finalized this way. And you understand what I'm trying to say? A deal's very close. I keep on saying it. Just listen to him. He knows what he's talking about. Either he's confused, or we are confused, or they're trying to confuse us all. Going to New York City, panic broke out at Penn Station. Stabbing, and the NASA's International Space Station was found leaking. We will talk about it soon. Astronauts were in trouble. All this and way more on Edge. Let's continue. The Middle East, I would say, but first, and the sponsor. I'll do it. Fine. Sponsor. Sixpo.net. Just go to Sixpo.net. There's a big expo coming up this week on Sunday. This coming Sunday, June 14th. Come to the expo. I'll be hosting their panel. It's a great, great place to come and explore business opportunities. Why? Because Staten Island is a place where people just look beyond. They don't realize it's an established place. It's a gold mine for businesses. It's right next to the city, and it's a suburb. If you're looking for a new place to move, like Muncie or Lakewood, you have to go all the way there. You can stay in the city. Your business in the city, your moisters. You don't have to change your moisters. You can stay where you are. Busing is very, very easy, back and forth from Staten Island. So, moving to Staten Island is just as a nice idea as moving to Muncie or Lakewood or anywhere, really. And they have beautiful houses. They have, you can speak to the realtors. They'll give you good deals. It feels like living in the suburb, just close to the city. All right, the Middle East just exploded. The expo is happening this Sunday, so go to sixpo.net to find out more. The Middle East just exploded into a war again. The official ceasefire, the unofficial ceasefire, or the official unofficial ceasefire ended, or didn't end, restarted. Iran fired several ballistic missiles and drones at Israel on Sunday, yesterday, and as well today, this morning. This is the first direct Iranian missile attack since the two sides stopped fighting on April 8th. Here is how the weekend happened. First, Hezbollah. Hezbollah launched a missile attack on northern Israel. Well, Israel hit back, and very hard. They bombed Hezbollah headquarters in Beirut, Tzur, and Nabatea over the weekend. During these attacks, Israeli forces found and destroyed a secret group making bombs. The bombings killed at least 2 people, including a reporter named Amal Khalil. Now, up to 20 others were also wounded in this attack. Israel also bombed the Lebanese villages of Tzefta and also Siksakiye and In Kanna. If you know these places, if you live there, you know what I'm talking about. If not, then it's fine. Trump was not told about the attack beforehand, and he was very unhappy about it. The attack also surprised American officials who had just told reporters they did not expect Israel to strike right away. Because of this attack, the Lebanon strikes, Hezbollah's bosses in Iran fired directly at Israel with ballistic missiles. The IRGC launched 22 to 24 missiles, and they fired all of them from Tehran and Karaj. They aimed it straight, they say, at Israel's Ramat David air bases. The Iranian missiles were seen flying through the night sky over Lebanon, heading straight for northern Israel. Israel's Home Front Command shot down and intercepted all of them. 2 Yidden were injured from the shrapnel while running to the bomb shelters, while one of the shot-down missiles fell in the Dara area of Syria. So not all of them were intercepted, some of them just landed in empty spaces. Or failed, basically, midway. Back in Lebanon, the Israeli military also found another underground headquarters belonging to Hezbollah. The tunnel network is located under the Beaufort Castle, and it had multiple floors running water, electricity, and medical operating room. The military says hundreds of terrorists were hiding inside this site. Troops also found heavy weapons, including anti-tank and anti-aircraft gear. Trump told reporters he was calling Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, obviously, right away after the missiles were thrown from Iran to Israel, asking him please not to strike back to escalate things. Well, he said, Trump, each of them had their fun. Israel had its strike, and Iran had its strike. We don't need another one, he said. And he also posted on Truth Social, quote, Israel and Iran must immediately stop shooting each other. But Israel didn't wait. Netanyahu told Trump, we have a right to defend ourselves. And we will. Marco Rubio also said to that any country who is attacked is stupid for not shooting back. Early Monday morning, the Israeli Air Force fired right back. They launched massive strikes on military targets in central and western Iran, including Tehran and East Azerbaijan province, which is east of, bordering with Iran, obviously. The Israeli military chief of staff and the top commanders led the attack from their main base. Explosions hit drone factories in the Najafabad area of Isfahan, but nobody was reportedly hurt. Now, the strikes also hit the Kuran chemical plant near the place in Khuzestan, which is a Khuzestan plant located in southwestern Iran. Other targets included sites of Karaj, Tabriz, Kermanshah, and also the Mehrabad International Airport in Tehran. Satellite pictures showed damage at 15 places, including Iranian Navy ports and United States military bases across the Gulf. Iran International said that their leadership has lost contact with Supreme Leader Mujtaba Khamenei since last night. Apparently, Mujtaba, is not in contact with them because obviously he's hiding somewhere in a bunker. The strikes in Israel were launched without coordination with Mujtaba's office. They simply relied on pre-prepared military protocols. The speed of Iran's response was too fast, since securing approvals from Khamenei usually takes longer due to messaging delays, obviously, because he's hidden. Israel is now promising even more bombs once top military leaders approve them. The new targets include would-be missile bases that do not involve oil, according to Yechiel Leiter, who's Israel's ambassador to the US. He also said that Israel will heavily bomb the main Hezbollah base in Dahya if the Lebanese group Hezbollah attacks again. The danger of the flying missiles forced Israel to close all schools. US embassies across the region ordered their workers to hide underground. 3 aeroplanes were seen rushing out of Tehran's airport to escape the strikes. Alerts also sounded in Saudi Arabia. People suspected an Iranian Houthi missile that tried to hit the Prince Sultan airbase, which holds the United States troops, obviously, there. But it failed. In Lebanon, a handwritten note from a civilian was left for Israeli soldiers who found it and read, "We are Christians and we love you and thank you for emptying Lebanon of the yellow." They meant Hezbollah. "Please take care of our homes because no one is helping us to restore them." An Iranian official announced yesterday that a nuclear deal with President Trump is no longer possible. The fighting comes on the 100th day of the war. The war. But Trump posted on Truth Social saying something different. It says, both sides, Israel and Iran, are looking to do an immediate ceasefire. In big words. Final negotiations on peace are proceeding subject to ignorance or stupidity getting in its way. The Strait of Hormuz blockade will remain in place, he says, and in full force and effect until a final deal is reached. Things should move quickly. End of quote. Iran confirmed Trump's statement, partially, through its state television. The Kathem al-Anbiya central headquarters said that Iran would stop its military operations against Israel. However, they said that if Israel strikes Iran or Lebanon again, they will attack with much more severe and crushing measures. Israel has also confirmed that it will stop the attacks. Netanyahu and Trump already spoke on the phone, and Israel is just waiting for a clear instruction on what to do next. Like I said before, President Trump spoke to Netanyahu, who answered him and told him, we will not wait and we will not sit quiet. We will retaliate because we have a right to defend ourselves. But Lebanon's President Joseph Aoun is not happy. He said, quote, he wanted to meet Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu recently because of the deal that they made, but he said Iran is using Lebanon as a bargaining chip in its negotiations with the US, which is unacceptable. Hezbollah, he says, must understand that the only solution is dialogue and negotiations. Well, they'll talk. But the United States is fully ready for a bigger war. 50,000 American troops are currently in the Middle East. 2 U.S. aircraft carriers are also completely blocking all ships and really fully supplied in the Strait of Hormuz. Trump also said that he knows how many missiles Iran has left and added, we know where they are too. Iran also warned that it will stop ships from traveling in the sea, but it will allow ships to pass if they pay a toll, which would cost up to $2 million per ship. They also said American military bases are now fair targets to attack, despite the fact that there are reports that Trump told CENTCOM not to assist Israel in defending the incoming missiles. Iranian advisor Mehdi Mohammadi talked about plans to use other terror groups across the region. And true enough, the Yemenite Houthis joined the fight. Sirens sounded in Tel Aviv and in central Israel. And the Houthis fired a missile that was shot down, obviously. And the first one was an attack from Yemen, since the recent ceasefire. But then the second one obviously came and it didn't land. It landed, I think, somewhere in the West Bank, where it destroyed and damaged a few houses. Well, I think there's shrapnel. And tension rose, basically. Yeah, tension rose from then. And obviously Israel struck back. It took them time, but they struck back, like I told you before. Now, in another attack, a Yid was killed in a shooting attack in the Sharon region. 5 other people were wounded, and several victims are in serious condition now. The attack started on Sunday when an Islamic terrorist opened fire. First they thought it was a Lebanese national. He opened fire at a gas station in Kochav Yair. The attacker shot 2 people. Then he drove to Tzur Yitzchak and wounded 2 more victims. And then he started shooting at Tzur Natan with 55-year-old Chaim Kalomiti. I think Kalomiti. Hashem Yekadumai. A Yid. He was a restaurant. He had a restaurant, a chef. I think he was a restaurant owner or a chef trying to save other people. When he was murdered, a soldier was also seriously wounded during this part of the attack. Security forces chased the attacker, this terrorist, to his hometown of Taib, and he was shot and killed there. The terrorist was an Arab Israeli named Omar Yassin. Police say he acted alone. A Palestinian, Arab, whatever. In New York, Chabad's Lubavitchers were happily dancing at 770 yesterday for the Nissim that happened yesterday because Iran shot over 30 ballistic missiles across Eretz Yisrael and none of them landed. Harav Dov Cook, who was in serious condition in the hospital, in Perea Hospital in Tveria, the Klal Yisrael is being asked to daven for his health. His health is not improving and has been in the hospital for several weeks now because he needs great Rachma Shamayim. The name is Cheskiyui. The name Cheskiyui is added to his name. It was instructed by Harav Don Segal and also Reb Yitzchak Zilberstein. The public is asked to keep davening for Reb Cheskiyui Dov HaKoyen ben Shoshana, L'Rfiyah Shalayma. The leading Doyle Yitzrul, the Doyle Adov from Yitzrul, are now in America on an emergency fundraising mission. They are traveling, also Harav Lando is also there. They're traveling to raise money for Keren Oilam HaTorah, a fund set up to support yeshivas and kollalim in Yitzrul and Moisterson. The trip comes after Israeli Supreme Court, obviously, as you heard last week, cut financial support. Because of this whole Tzav Gius, the Gzaras Gius, the Rebbe's are now hoping to replace the lost Israeli funding for donations from American communities. Newscaster, once from Fox News and now obviously his podcaster, Tucker Carlson, called Israeli Ambassador Danny Danon because he cried that he was on some sort of anti-Semite list. He told Danon, I'm being attacked by the Jews, so maybe you have a list. Maybe you could take me off the list, he's asking. Danon answered, Mr. Carlson, we don't have a list. We don't have a list, he says. You're being attacked because you are spreading lies, blood libels against our soldiers. Danon shared the story at an event and added that maybe it is really time to start a list of people who spread anti-Semitism online. The food delivery company DoorDash shut off one of its drivers for good over anti-Semitism. What happened? The driver, Kaylin Dang, pulled up to a home in Michigan, a Jewish home, that was flying both American and Israeli flags, or maybe not Jewish, I'm not sure. Instead of dropping the food off, she filmed herself laughing and ate the sandwich on camera. DoorDash kicked her off for good, and the customer got their money back. Let's talk about eating food without thinking. Well, kosher skinny shot is there for you when you have that problem, exactly that problem. Kosher skinny shot is made for that. It's not dangerous. It's a myth. People make up this in their mind that they think it's only for people who are struggling with obesity. It's not true. It's made for anyone who wants to keep a healthier lifestyle. Makes life easier, refreshed, more energetic, more energized. Waking up in the morning feeling good about yourself. Kosher skinny shot. It's literally that, just that, a kosher skinny shot. It keeps you kosher, keeps you skinny, and keeps you healthy. Yes, it's a shot, but it's, ask them about options, different options they have on 845-456-8924. All right, the number is 845-456-8924. Again, That's the number. I said it. There we go. 845-456-8924. And you can also enter to win a special free giveaway, a 1-month free giveaway on Kosher Screenshot if you call me, partnering with On Edge. 845-671-1775. Press 5, say your name, your telephone number, On Edge, and you will enter to win 1 free month on Kosher Screenshot. US President Donald J. Trump walked out of an interview on NBC's Meet the Press yesterday. He ended the interview suddenly after host Kristen Welker asked him for proof of cheating in the 2020 election. Trump called the TV network dishonest and said that either Welker was dishonest or just stupid. On Truth Social, Trump reposted fact-checking, like in big letters, he wrote. During the June 7th, 2026 interview of President Trump in Wisconsin, the Meet the Press reporter says, quote, there is no evidence, quote, and that the 2020 election was rigged, end quote of quote. President Trump says, he's writing still, there is basically. So who was correct? He's asking a question mark. He answers with his own words and caps. President Trump. All caps. Now, he continues, we have over 800 findings in support of President Trump, of which over 550 are established facts. And these findings are backed by 2,527 citations. Before leaving the interview, Trump talked about some of his plans for the country in the Middle East. Now, he also warned that if peace talks moved too slowly, it could restart U.S. military action. He threatened to send special American soldiers to attack if talks completely fail. He also refused to give back frozen Iranian money. Even with all this happening, President Trump said that the U.S. is very close to reaching a deal with Iran. On Fox News interview, he also said that the deal could be signed this week. A knife attack left several people with stab wounds at around evening time in Penn Station, New York City, Sunday evening. 6 people were hurt and 1 person is injured very badly. Police arrested the suspect, whom they think is suffering from mental health issues. There is also no initial signs of the attack was related to any terrorism. That's what they say. New York health officials turned down the latest try to take over Maimonides Medical Center and turn it into a city hospital in Brooklyn. They said the paperwork was missing a requested health study. A court had already blocked the deal last month, and the whole thing could now be pushed off for months. That was obviously tried, and obviously many people in the community didn't want this to happen, because once it becomes a city hospital, it could be even more rundown and more terrible than it is already. In Los Angeles, the race for mayor is getting close. City council woman Nithya Raman just passed Spencer Pratt in the vote count, and she is now ahead by more than 3,000 votes. With most of the votes counted, the final race is now between Raman and the current mayor Karen Bass. There is also a race for California governor. Democrat Javier Becerra is the first one to lock his spot for the final vote in November. He pulled ahead in the polls late last week, and the rest of the votes for mayor are still being counted. I think that wasn't. I think they're not yet in. Anyway, Marco Rubio. I just want to correct myself. I made a mistake before I go to Marco Rubio. The California governor race is actually happening in November, but the primary from the Democratic side obviously went through now, along with the mayor race. So Becerra is obviously leading. We don't yet know who's going to be leading, but he's leading obviously ahead of the other one in, like I just mentioned. But they're probably going to be running against a Republican in November. Becerra, most likely, he's going to be the leading candidate from the primaries, from the Democratic primaries. Steve Hilton is from the Republican side, who might be running against him, or might be, depending on yes. Anyway, Secretary of State Marco Rubio made a new rule that bans anyone tied to a terror group from entering the United States. That's now a big problem for the World Cup. That's happening now. Iran's football team, is set to play 3 games here starting Thursday, but the head of their soccer group, basically Mehdi Taj, was blocked because he used to be a commander in the IRGC. Players can still come, but they're not allowed to stay overnight, and they have to fly in and out the same day for each game. Last week I told you about Solana Bay, the waterfront project in Miami, and I have to fix something I said. I said, by mistake, 8 apartments. Well, it's not 8 apartments, it's 80 apartments. It's a huge building, 3 views of the oceanfront, of waterfront views, beautiful, beautiful building, stunning building, featuring 80 majestic apartments, I would call it. Many, many Heimschieden are planning to move there now, either for a second home or for a first home, you never know, or for a home, an actual home, to live in Florida. People are escaping New York City's Mamdani. So, Buying an apartment there is actually a very good opportunity for many people. So, featuring a big building, featuring 10 stories, and a huge, nice, lavish is not a name to use, but the luxurious apartments, 80 apartments being built in that building. So I guess it's a big deal because it was bought by Hamisher people. All right, Greek police arrested a 37-year-old, here's more pictures of the place, a 37-year-old Palestinian man on the island of Crete. Police said that he's linked to a suspected Hamas member whom they already arrested earlier in Cyprus. The two men traveled to Malaysia where they received bomb training. Police searched homes in Crete and in Athens and found laboratory equipment, mobile phones, laptops, hard drives and bank cards. Police also said that the man ordered chemicals that could be used to make bombs. But police believe an Israeli cruise ship was the planned target of the attack. Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky is in London right now, meeting with European leaders for more weapons. Leaders from the UK, France and Germany agreed to help protect Ukraine. They are also backing a new ceasefire talks with Russia. A powerful 7.8 magnitude earthquake struck just off the coast of Philippines. People saw buildings collapsing in the city of General Santos, and so far the death toll has reached 32 people. A tsunami warning for the giant ocean wave is now active across the Pacific Ocean, and also people saw a massive, huge high-rise building, skyscraper almost, shaking from side to side, literally like that. Warnings are in place for Japan, Indonesia, Guam, and also the Northern Mariana Islands. The spy agencies for the US, UK, Canada, Australia, and New Zealand, a group called the Five Eyes, warned that China is using fake job offers on sites like LinkedIn to find and recruit spies and to steal people's private information. Speaking of China, the leader, Xi Jinping, arrived in North Korea for his first visit there since 2019. He's staying 2 days to talk about working closer together with Kim Jong-un. NASA's International Space Station suddenly started leaking more air, so the astronauts prepared for a possible escape. 5 of the 7 crew members were told to hide inside a docked SpaceX ship. That ship is called Dragon Freedom, and it works like a space lifeboat. The crew put on their spacesuits, so they were ready to detach and return to Earth. Meanwhile, 2 Russians stayed behind to try and fix the problem. On Friday afternoon, NASA paused the repair work and told the crew to go back into the main station. NASA said that they will continue to work with international partners to make sure that the International Spaceship is fully fixed. Let's talk about your spaceship, which is your business. It's in space right now because it's a website or a program that's in the space of the internet, right? Keeping its space there. But it needs to have no leaks. And if you design it with... If you design it wrong, using Claude or ChatGPT on your own, I know you know, you'll end up having some leaks or something that you didn't realize matters. And also AI, by the way, people replace it with their brains, you know. I know AI is a great thing, it's a great tool. People get the wrong idea of AI. AI is not used for teaching how to make toast when you know how to make it on your own. Remember your grandfather used to tell you, get that calculator away from your head because, you know, you'll just rely on it all your life? No, now it's not the problem of calculator, now it's the problem of literally, like I said, helping you make toast, AI. Use it for research, use it for things that can actually help you innovate. But if you're not professional and you are professional in something else, you want to hire the professional that does know how to work with AI or make your website. Yes, and that also helps because it's affordable, because it's better, and AI does help speed things up, get the website or the CRM or whatever your Salesforce app or whatever you're building up and running much faster by calling Protobyte 347-354-1237. You have Wise Capital Group, who's also there for you if you want to borrow some money for investment. Wise Capital Group, cut the middleman out. Ask them about the no closing cost loans, and they will give you something worthwhile. Ask them about it. 718-831-2168. And then you have, obviously, Arrive Express on 845-622-1111 or 845-254-1111. My friends, now I want to address the Click. The Click is obviously a bot, a WhatsApp bot, on 848-480-8677. Sign up now to know everything you need to know, wherever you are in the world, about Zmanim, Minyunim, kosher, anything you need. And you can also register your business for free, or you're sure if you're a gabbai. Go on to click613.com. Now, thank you so much for the listener who called me, 2 listeners actually, that called me on 845-671-1775, pressed 5, left me a message with feedback. I appreciate it. One of them I'm going to address more of them altogether. I'm in the middle of preparing, actually, a whole segment in Yiddish. You can access it on Yiddish24 or Kol Mevaser and access 118 or 112 from the main menu, which you can hear it there. I will put it out. I don't know exactly when. When I'm done with it, it takes me time. I said by one of the coming days or, on the weekend maybe. But for now, let me address the two listeners that called me. One of them called me to correct a detail that I mentioned. Chof Sivan last week, Friday, was the yurtzeit of many Kedoshim that were killed on that day. There was two big tragedies that happened. One tragedy over 800 years ago that happened in France, in Blois, a place, Blois in France, that killed 33 people, 33 Yidden people, Kedoshim. 1171 in Blois, France, a blood libel claimed that Yidden threw a child into the river. No child was ever missing, nobody was ever found, like the typical Alida Stums that happened, the blood libels. Still, they were given an ultimatum, all of them, to convert to Christianity. They refused. They said a line in the Shabbat, and they were all burned alive. Al Kiddush Hashem. Rabbi Tam set that day as a fast day, Chof Sivan. And that's not just the only reason. Then came, Gezairas Tachvatat, that started with the killing and wiping out a whole entire community of 6,000 Yidden, the Kehillah of Nemirov in Ukraine. This was led by the Kazakh named Khmelnytsky, the uprising. He led the uprising in Ukraine. His men obviously did the most brutal things that the Nazis did and that the Hamasnikas did in Simchas Torah, yes. And I compared the two. I said that it's like 10 October 7th that they did there. Terrible things. 300 Jewish communities were destroyed and over 100,000 Yidden were killed, Kedoshim. Now, he says that I should apologize. Why should I apologize? Because he claims that the Jews that died in that day, on this bitter Chof Sivan day, were Kedoshim and holy people, Shomer Torah and Mitzvahs, versus the Yidden that were killed on Simchas Torah were not. Now, here is what I want to answer to him. And I never usually answer because it's not my place to give opinions. I just broadcast the news here without any opinions. I try my best at least. Maybe I sound a little bit excited in some parts and some parts not, but it is what it is, So, if you truly have a problem with it, I'm here to open. I'm open to listen. But this particular thing, he asked me to apologize. So I do apologize, and I don't want chas v'shalom cause anyone to have some sort of, if I say something wrong, I do apologize. I apologize for the misunderstanding he had. But I want to clarify something. I stand very strong with the respect for Hashem, especially for his Torah and the Jews, or the Yidden. It's not my opinion. It's the Torah's opinion. This Pasha Shlach Lechu Anushim, Meraglim spoke against the land. It's a Srul. And Chazal teach us that the Avaira spread into speaking against people, which is even, very, very severe. Lashon Haras, a Jew is a Jew. Now, your problem can be with a movement, with an idea, 100%, with an ideology. Your problem can be a mechua against someone who's against the Torah, 100%. Now, to say that those Tanoikas Shenishbe who were dancing by the festival and Nova Festival, taking them, combining with the people that were sleeping in their beds on Yom Tov, Simchas Torah, that were killed, babies into the oven by Hamas in the most brutal ways, the same as Khmelnytsky did with those Jews, and maybe even worse, I don't know. You can't compare. You don't know. Nazis, what they did to 6 million of our grandparents, and people we don't even know exist or existed. Jews, a Yid is a Yid. A Jew hater doesn't know the difference. The Nazis didn't ask any questions. Hamas didn't ask if it was Simchas Torah then. The Cossacks didn't ask if they kept Shabbos or they kept the Torah. They had no clue. A Yid is a Yid. I don't make cheshbonos Shemaim, so neither should you. Talking to the person who left me a message. Or anyone, really. I heard a beautiful thing from a Harvard student who said that a Jew, a Christian and a Muslim walked into a bar, and the result is me, he says. He's actually an einikel of, somehow. And he said that the only thing that keeps us apart from each other is the understanding. You can have an opinion. You can have a difference of opinion. You can have a strong difference of opinions, but conflict happens only when you disagree with each other with violence. Why? What's the point? Obviously if somebody does something terrible, like shooting someone, killing someone, yes, but this is not what we're doing. We're not dealing with that. We're dealing with that, but on a broader spectrum, like we're talking about Republicans versus Democrats, or, Zionism versus Jews and all that. There's so many debates about this everywhere, across the whole spectrum of the entire Judaism. We're Jews. We're Jewish people. We don't do that. We don't do violence. The Rebbes, not one Rebbe said after Simchas Torah happened, not one of them said that there's a difference, these Jews deserve to die. Chalila v'chas. Never heard anyone say this. A Yid is a Yid. That's it. So, next week is the Pasha of Machloikas. We learn Koirach, and there's so many things in this. You got to go learn a little bit and calm yourself down. Everything will be good. Anyway, Hashem will help, and Hashem should help these Kedoshim from all of those attacks. Should be made l'tziyash for all of us. I'm sure now in Shemaim they're up there and they're seeing our world differently than we see it down here. But Hashem should help us and bring us clarity. Mashiach should come and Achdus, Ahava, and everyone should speak the pure language, a pure tongue, just like the Nuvi said. And that's it. V'yaydi, 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 ki atu shimchu Hashem. Who knows the song? Hatzlucha Rabbi Koltev.
Your daily report of the news of the last 24 hours, powered by Yiddish24, provided to you by The Click.